On August 19, 2023, I found myself in Sao Paulo, Brazil, for my second Brazilian Catan Championship. After numerous lost finals in online tournaments, I managed to secure the title of champion. For me, this was more than just any title, it was redemption. With 57 proven competitors from all corners of this vast country, my first title came in a face-to-face national tournament. In this text, I want to share a bit of my journey and briefly discuss the strategies involved in official Catan matches compared to major online tournaments. How I Became a Catan National Champion by Felipe. My online journey. For those who don't know, I'm a Catan player almost 100% online. I live in a small town in the countryside where I work as a doctor, a profession I pursue with dedication. Catan is my biggest hobby, the activity that takes up the most of my time outside of work. I was introduced to Settlers of Catan in 2018 or 2019 when my brother bought the board game home, but it was in December 2020 that I discovered online Catan and truly dedicated myself to the game. In just a few months, I realized I could maintain a good win rate in random games. At the end of March 2021, I saw the announcement of the newly created Catan Championship League and joined in time for the first historic Season 1 in April. At the time, the largest online Catan league in the world operated monthly with a 3-division system based on player skill levels. Due to my win rate in random matches, I was placed in the first division. In the first season, I made it to the final. I lost. And I would return to the final in Season 3 and 6. Still very inexperienced, I lacked better English communication skills, trading abilities, tracking, and a bit of patience. But I continued playing, because the best way to improve in Catan is to play many games competitively and analytically, and that's what I did. I reached a high level of play around Season 15. From there, my win rate started to soar. But I always fell in the semifinals, in single games where the top 16 was formed. However, in Season 21, that all changed. I made it to the final again. I was at my peak as a Catan player, and nothing would stop me. Well, that's what I thought. I played like never before, but lost as always. My fourth finals loss, the most painful of all of them. After nearly 2 years of playing Catan, it seemed like I was destined for failure, and it deeply affected me. I would still go on to compete in the 5th final in Season 23, losing again with 9 points. The truth is, I was very frustrated and nearly tired of the league system. Therefore, I decided to retire in Season 24 after 2 years and 988 games. My in-person journey. If 1,000 games define my experience in online tournaments, 18, yes, 18, summarize my experience in in-person tournaments. My in-person experience began in 2022, in the only qualifier in my state for the National Championship. I managed to reach the final, which was enough to qualify for the Grand Brazilian Championship. At the time, I was still adjusting to the in-person gameplay, something I hadn't done for 3 or 4 years. Competitively, it was my first time, and this somehow reflected in my national tournament performance. Despite winning 2 out of 4 qualifying games, I finished in 18th place. I left Sao Paulo promising myself that I would try to play better in 2023. And 2023 arrived. This time, with 3 qualifiers in my state. With the second one, I achieved my goal. Differences in Catan modalities. Before I delve into the grand tournament, I'd like to offer some strategic reflections on my perception of the different competitive Catan modalities around the world. I categorize Catan tournaments in 3 specific modalities, naming them as follows. Online Catan organized play, online Catan unorganized play, in-person Catan organized play. Online organized play, tournaments. In this format, you are usually playing against highly experienced players who make few mistakes and can balance an inherently unbalanced table. Games tend to be decided in the details, like, should I buy a development card or should I build a city? Should I fight for the largest army or just aim to build up to 10 points? Is it worth spending my resources to compete for the longest road? Those who consistently make good micro decisions stand out more in these inherently challenging environments. Knowing how to identify potential leaders or potential spots that could make someone a leader is also crucial. Board awareness plays a significant role here. Skilled traders usually have better win rates in leagues. Being able to propose trades that tilt the balance more in your favor than your opponent's is also a differentiating factor. In organized play, the game is less rigid. It's less dependent on cliches like no wheat equals defeat. And it's also less reliant on the famous or we cheap strategy. Unorganized play, ranked platforms. The meta here seems to be more traditional. Or we cheap holds immense importance, and players who buy many development cards usually have a better chance of winning. Since there's a wide and diverse pool of players, it becomes much harder to rely on the table. Table talk can sometimes be viewed negatively in these games. Generally, betting on a dev card strategy, combined with good ports for flexibility and the ability to develop your game independently, seems to be a successful idea in this type of game. In-person organized play. Catan as it was meant to be played, face-to-face. Here, social skills take center stage that only face-to-face interactions allow. The use of facial expressions, empathy, kindness, and of course, table talk itself. There's immense potential here. The table may be less cooperative, but you can change that simply through these social skills. The same flexibility found in ranked games with the use of ports and effective or we cheap meta is also important. Keeping in mind that different environments require different strategies was the first step I took to try and improve my performance. The following table shows a comparison of the importance of each strategy within its own modality, based on my perception, all of these strategies being very important in any context, with some being more critical depending on the environment. The road to the title. How should I behave tomorrow? What should I do differently from my usual approach? These two questions occupied my mind for about 24 hours before the big tournament. I arrived in Sao Paulo and met some friends and recognized some familiar faces. From the online league scene, only my friend Bruno, it's Rahel, was there. The games began, and as expected, there was a mix of players with varying levels of experience and different playing styles. It was a volatile field. However, I found a pleasant surprise. Table talk. Unlike the previous year, the players in this tournament were more open to trades, conversations, and taking the patience this game deserves seriously. I tried to take advantage of this perception more often than I usually do. 4 qualifier rounds awaited me. I lost the first 2 with 9 and 8. After the lunch break, I knew that I had to win the remaining 2 to qualify. Now, I need to channel my inner Shanks 1700, and I did. I won the last 2 games, and with the 4th game ending in a close score of 10-9-9, I made it to the semifinals. And what a semifinal it was! Started with a bad setup and unfavorable dice rolls, but through creative trades, board awareness, and table talk, I managed to make a comeback. Despite starting with no ore, I'm orange pictured here, I managed to build 3 cities, all through player trades, with no 10 sheep rolling during the game, and thus no porting. Having the opportunity to use my skills in a game like this is very, very rewarding. The grand final. Now, Bruno, what should I do? I asked my friend as I prepared mentally for the big game. The ghosts of my 5 losses seemed to haunt me, but at the same time, I started to feel a sense of confidence. I glanced at the trophy. While few were watching, I used the palm of my hand to gesture a stroke of affection, a kiss, as if to say, "You will be mine." And after a while, luck smiled upon me. The final wasn't my best game, but the score was huge, 10-4-4-3. Nevertheless, I played well, especially in the initial trades that gave me early cities. Anyway, I celebrated, and why not? After years of consistency resulting in failure, I had finally achieved my title. And it wasn't just any title. It was a national title. How I became a Catan national champion. Well, The answer is straightforward. Optimizing your chances. In a way, all I did was optimize my chances. Still, a different roll of the dice in my third or fourth game could have knocked me out of the semifinals. But if I hadn't played the way I did, I wouldn't have been there as well. Am I the best Catan player in Brazil? I don't know, but it's likely. Not because of the title, but because of my experience and the consistency of my journey. Because I'm an enthusiast of the game, passionate about its strategies, the title doesn't change the player I am, but it definitely feels good. Slowly, I began to realize that Catan is not about winning. Today, I take more pleasure in a good game than in a bad victory. A gambler wants to win. A gamer wants to play well. When I lost my third final in D1 in 21, I had already accumulated enough coins to buy this crown. However, disappointed with the loss, I promised that I would only buy it after becoming a champion as a reward. But now, I decided to give myself this crown as a gift. Not for Felipe Marina, not for a retired pro, but for Shanks 1700, my first and original nickname, chosen completely at random, who fell in love with competitive Catan and became an enthusiast back in the early days 2 years ago. Promise fulfilled. Thank you very much to Shanks 1700 for allowing me to cover your article.